I did it. I asked the hard question. The question that most of us will never ask our loved ones, but we've always wondered. Well, today I did it. How could you let me get as big as I got when I was getting as big as I got? The answers will shock you. They shocked me at least. But they were honest. Now I'm not putting blame on anyone. I'm not. The blame solely lies on myself. I chose to eat. I chose to not work out. I chose to do the things that I was doing. My fault. But it often wonders, why is it that no one said anything? Maybe they did, and I just wasn't listening. So if you're new, my name's Alonda. I'm a 49-year-old mother, high school teacher, and I am on a GLP-1 weight loss journey. My starting weight was 264.7. I'm not going to get into where I am right now. Let's just say I've lost over 80 pounds. My body's currently going through body recomposition. So I am working out, strength training to build muscle. And because of that, the scale is moving. Not in the direction I want. However, I'm seeing the fruits of my labor by my inches. My inches are, even though the scale is like, I'm not going nowhere. So today's video will be short and sweet. I asked 3 of my loved ones, how is it that I got as big as I got and you didn't say anything? The first person was my son, my 24-year-old. Now, my son, he is truly the one who's come face to face with me numerous times and was like, Mom, you gotta lose weight. Mom, you don't look healthy. Mom, you gotta lose weight. And I can tell you now, I know he said this. I know verbatim that he said this. I had conversations with him. I made promises to him. And I just wasn't hearing him. So when I asked him, I said, babe, how is it that I got as big as I got and you didn't say anything? He got offended. He was like, I did say something. I said something all the time. And you would start to do something and then you failed. Or you stopped. Or you changed your mind. Or you came up with an alternative plan. That's true. That's true. I did. I did. I can't blame him. I really can't. Again, I blame myself for that. And out of everyone, he was probably the most brutal, blunt person. My second person was a family member. And this again was someone who was very blunt and honest. She passed away 2 years ago. But my aunt, she happened to be my mom's oldest sister. And so she would always remind me every phone call, every visit, Alonda, you gotta lose weight. Alonda, you gotta lose weight. Alonda, you gotta lose weight. Even times when I would see her, she'd be like, oh, you got a little bigger. I'd be like, did I really get bigger? I did. I did get bigger. But that was me shielding the fact that I didn't know how to change. Like everything I tried to do was failing. Kind of goes back to what my son was saying. You would get on Saxenda. You would get on Weight Watchers. You would start this diet plan. You would do this. You would do that. But yet I kept failing. Nothing worked. So at some point, they start to feel like, hearing deaf ears. But neither one of them stopped saying it. So the last time I actually saw my aunt, again, God rest her soul, I was down. I was down maybe 60 pounds. And she was coming out of chemo, and we met her at the hospital. I'll see if I can find a photo that we took. And she was like, you're doing it. Just keep doing it. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And I told her, I'm on GLP-1. I'm on medicine. I'm giving myself a shot. And she's like, okay, just keep doing it. So trust me, when I hit my 9-month plateau, that's the voice I kept hearing. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. So when you ask me, how is it that you were able to stay motivated? Because I was finally doing something that worked. Unlike what happened with, unfortunately, what my son saw me doing was starting something, stopping it, starting it, stopping it, starting it, failing at it. I was actually succeeding. Now, when I hit that 9-month plateau, like I said, I didn't feel like I was losing, but my body was transforming. And I was able to look back at photos. I was able to try on different clothing, and I saw the changes. So that's how I'm able to hold on right now as my body goes through body recomposition. Now, my third person that I asked, now again, I can't talk to my dead aunt, but I do know that these were conversations we had. But going back to the living, I talked to another family member. And I said, and this is a family member I love dearly, dearly, dearly. And I said, how is it that I got as big as I got, and you didn't say nothing. And that family member said, I was in no place to judge you without judging myself. And that family member was doing some stuff they shouldn't be doing. That's why I'm saying these words the way I'm saying it. They were doing some stuff they shouldn't be doing. And that was causing concerns in health on themselves. Like, their own choices were impacting their life. And that family member was in the hospital probably once a month, on any given month, because of their life choices. So I understood that aspect. And then I kind of had to put it back on myself. I knew what you were doing, but yet I didn't say nothing, knowing what I knew. So how can I come to you and say, why didn't you say something about me? When again, that was not their cross to bear. Is that berry? Cross to bear? Cross? It was not that cross to hold. It was my cross. My cross to hold. So I got that. I truly did. I got that. And then, like I said, that family member was doing some stuff they really had no business doing. And, you know, how do you judge others without judging yourself? So I got that one. The fourth person that I asked was co-parent. And this is the one that kind of sat with me for a while because, you know, co-parent sees me every day. And, you know, I go back and I look at photos together and I'm like, oh, really? How did you not say nothing? And honestly, we had a little talk about it, and they did see stuff, but I took it differently. When he would say, you know, oh, your butt getting bigger, I took it as a compliment. Like, my butt's getting bigger, because I know he's a butt guy. He's a butt guy and he's a hair guy. So, you know, he would see the body changing, but him saying your butt got bigger didn't mean a bad thing to me. So these are his words.
Man, you're that big? Because there's the one picture, I guess you're on a white top, and then you put it on the screen and you're standing next to it. Like, man, I was like, man, because I asked you, did you do something to the picture? Did you Photoshop it or something? And you said no. I said, oh man, it was really different. Mm-hmm. But I didn't, you know, I was more concerned. I mean, I'm not going to say concerned. You still had a pretty face. You know, I was just, oh, you're recording?
Yes.
Oh. I was just like, I said, oh, your pretty face and your hair's still long. I mean, you know, your butt was getting a little bigger. But the picture that you put on your screen when you put the side by side, I said, wow, she was really pretty big. It didn't dawn on me. Mm-hmm. You know, I think I just liked the cute face.
All right. And then, and I'll show a video of this, but there was one concern that made him realize that I was really not in a healthy predicament. Actually, there were two incidences. Once I was at Kroger's and they had to call EMT on me because my blood pressure was too high, and they rushed me to the hospital. My son, my 12-year-old, he was probably about 6 months old at that point. They rushed me to the hospital, and I stayed overnight for that visit. And so that was one concern. But again, I had just given birth, so who's gonna really judge me on that one? My baby was like 6 months old. And then the most recent one is one day when I was trying to get out the bathtub. And I kind of remember this because I remember this being one of the last times I took a bath. Because I saw the look on his face and I knew what I was doing to struggle. But honestly, the two just did resonate in my brain that it was truly an issue. I mean, I knew it was an issue. I just didn't take it as an issue. I just moved on from it. Oh, there was a day I couldn't get out the bathtub. And when I looked over and I could see on his face, he was like, do I help her? Do I not help her? Is she all right? Is she good? And I just rolled over and got out the bathtub. But that was truly one of the last times until I got on my GLP-1 that I stopped taking a bath. Like because I don't want to get stuck in the bathtub and have to ask somebody to come help me out. I didn't want that. I mean, y'all, I did a whole video about the fact that when I would sit on the toilet, I was worried that I wouldn't be able to wipe my ass. I literally said that. Like, I was getting to the point where my hand, belly was hovering, and I was like, oh gosh, I'm gonna need some help. And that was a huge fear of mine. So couple can't get out the bathtub, coupled with can't wipe my own tush, I knew I needed to do something. But again, I wasn't at a point where I was able to accept the condition my body was in until the day that I saw this photo. That's the day when I was like, oh my gosh, this is as big as I've gotten. Even minus the fact that other people had seen pictures and they were seeing it, I wasn't ready to see it. So if you are looking to start a GLP-1 weight loss journey and you're at this point where you're like, I have no idea how I got as big as I am. Like, and why didn't anyone say something? Maybe they did, but you just weren't in a place to hear it. I actually brought this up to my student teacher. Love her, sweetheart. We were talking about a student, and the student just was not hearing what we were saying. And my student teacher was like, I just don't understand why you just didn't say, like, bluntly to her. And I said, because she wasn't ready to hear it. Think about everything we said. She wasn't ready to hear the next piece. She was still stuck here. She was here. I said, think of it this way. If you saw your best friend's boyfriend with another woman, and you called your best friend and said, girl, I just saw Michael with another woman, and your friend says, girl, that couldn't have been him. Girl, wake up. My mommy would not be cheating on me. Would you keep going, or would you stop that conversation? And my student teacher said, I would probably stop the conversation because she didn't want to hear it. And as I talk about my student not wanting to hear the next part, I'm pretty sure I was in that same boat. I was not ready to hear, hey, Alonda, your body is pretty big. Hey, Alonda, you're not healthy. I mean, shoot, I was on 10 different medications. And even then, for the longest time, I kept telling y'all 8. I was 8 different medications. It was really 10. I just wasn't ready to acknowledge the fact that I had these other 2 medications that I took once a month. Oh yeah, I do take those. My bad, forgot about them. So the reality is, I can't blame anyone except for myself. And I can't say that anyone telling me would have made a difference because I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. Yeah. Even when I took my first injection, was I ready? I don't know. But mentally, I feel like I was, because I cried, I prayed, I thrown all caution to the wind. I was like, I got a medication that I hope this helps. I hope this works for me. So if you're at that point where you're like, I need to do something, I don't know what to do. How is it that people are letting me get to this size? How is it that this is happening to me in my body? May I suggest Mochi Health? Mochi Health is a telehealth provider. You would do the online quiz. It's linked below, but I'll leave a little QR code. Do the quiz, and it'll see what are your weight loss options. It could be semaglutide, it could be tirzepatide, and who knows what's going to be coming down the pipeline in the next, year or two. But they'll run your insurance. You'll meet with a provider. You and the provider will decide what medications might be in your best interest. The other beautiful thing about Mochi is that they'll run your labs. So many people are starting these weight loss journeys without that foundation piece, and I strongly suggest you run your labs. Do your labs. See where your baseline is. I hear people saying, oh, I wish I would have done a DEXA scan before I started. Oh, I wish I would have known this, because right now I don't have anything to compare. That's why I suggest do the blood work. Mochi Health will help you with that. If you need a sleep study, they'll help you with the sleep study. They also have nutritionists on hand that'll help you guide what kind of meal plans you might be looking into. They offer a wide range of services to help you live your very best life. And that's why I always suggest Mochi Health, because they are truly there helping me live my very best life. Like I said, the information down below. If you use my code, you'll save $40 on your first month of membership. Medication is $199 for tirzepatide and $99 for semaglutide. I am actually ordering a tirzepatide right now for $199 that has tirzepatide, NAD+, and L-carnitine. It has those 3 peptides in it, all for $199. That is unheard of. So I'm truly allowing my body to heal from the inside out as I work on the outside in. We're in Houston and it's raining. What better way to make a video? Because when I started this journey, I had tears. Tears are blowing. But now I have smiles are glowing. Y'all take care. The information for your online quiz is linked down below. Don't forget, you'll schedule an appointment with your doctor. Feel free to utilize that service of getting your labs done, sleep study, meeting with the dietitian, and from there, you are on your way. Don't waste this time. Start today.